everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. Today we've got Abhishek Iyer with us. I'd normally say from the football pundits in the Manchester United Supporters Club, but today he's just here as a true Manchester United fan, and we share the pain, we share the emotion, and you've already seen our review. And yeah, you know how hard it was for me, but like trust me, it was equally hard for Abby. And I'm just gonna give him a minute here to like sum up his thoughts and what he thinks.
Hey Prashant, thanks so much. It's unfortunately the only pleasure and privilege of tonight is that I'm on your channel because everything else apart from that is just so difficult and so defeating to speak about. I'll start about opening Premier League weekend for Man United, and I've gone on and said statements like the Premier League doesn't begin till Man United play. So I was going out and telling people that this is the Premier League opener, right, to a large extent. And I've been very, very optimistic in my preseason analysis of where this team should finish and where and what this season has in store for us. All I'm going to say is that I am probably I'm a hopeful idiot, Prasham. I'm a hopeful idiot and I'm an optimistic idiot. And I love this club so dearly and I love this sport so dearly. And I've always been optimistic, even in our toughest of times. But today, what really upset me about this defeat was that it was so much more than just a defeat. It was so much more than a 3-1 that we saw at Old Trafford. And let me just tell you one or two things that's top of my head right now. I think first one is the performance of our players today. It was, season opener. I understand this. The crowds are not in the stadium right now, but it's a season opener. It's the start of a brand new Premier League season. It's the start of new ambitions, new dreams, new hope. Yeah, I think the performance was really, really disappointing to watch today. The lack of fight, the lack of desire, the lack of leadership, the lack of anything, everything was missing today. And it's not like Palace were phenomenal. It's not like Palace were, incredible in their performance. They came here, got a result. We handed them the result today, Prasham. And the second thing that I'm going to say is it scares me, Prashant. We don't have a plan B. We just don't have a plan B.
You know, Abby, when I saw the lineups, I put it on our United Star group. We're going to lose this game. We're absolutely, definitely going to lose this game because I do not trust our bench. I know you are the first person to come out and say the bench is not good enough. I do not trust. It's fine, play Dan James. But the moment I saw Fosu Mensah there, I was sure that this is it. This is not happening today and it's over. And you know what? You pointed out something, which is very important. Is what pains me most is not that we lost. With football, you lose, but everything that's going off the pitch, you expect these 11 players to go on the pitch. They have enough quality to beat a Palace side. And for 90
Yeah.
minutes, you expect to forget what's happening off the pitch and you perform to the level you can and you level you should. And it didn't happen. All I have to say is that, give us our club back. This is not the Man United I fell in love with. I don't recognize this team anymore. It's not got the desire. It's not got the hunger. It's not got the passion. Forget the quality. I don't care about the quality right now. Just give me my club back. Give me the club that I fell in love with. Give me the Wayne Rooney there. I don't want a player who's as good as Wayne Rooney or as good as Vidic or as good as Ferdinand. I just want that passion. The quality is okay. You lose games, you win games. We know we expect that as fans to lose games. But
True.
and this starts from the Glazers, it goes to Woodward, it goes to the players that took the pitch today. And I'm even going to put Ole in there. Give me the club that Ole played for. Bring that Man United back. Bring that the fabric of the club back. It's not there. You can't go out there and lose like this to Palace 3-1. You can't do it. I mean, it pains me. I mean, yeah, you lose. I don't care. You lose 4-3. We lost 4-3 to Leicester in that first season Leicester game. I don't care. You lost 4-3. Yeah, that was disappointing. But
You're
this
right. You're right.
hurts. This
It's the
shatters. This
manner.
shatters me as a Man United fan. I mean, it's going to be a long season, but let's get into some player ratings. There's not much to say, but let's get into some player ratings. What do you think of David De Gea? He saved an unlikely penalty, which was ruled out. He looked okay. How do you rate his performance today?
Allow me to begin with just one statement, which is I don't think any United player deserves more than a 5. It's a personal opinion. So when I do the player ratings, you'll understand why I'm giving these ratings.
Yeah,
It's not to lowball them, but I think in a 3-1 defeat at home, I personally don't think even the best player from our side deserves more than a 5. So I'll
I
start with David De
absolutely
Gea.
agree. I absolutely agree.
So I'll start with De Gea. Yes, penalty well saved. Didn't do too much wrong. I think it was more of the defense that sort of let him down in the opening goals. So I'll give him a 5. He's probably the only one of the two positives that I saw in the team. So 5, because he made a world class save in the first half. So 5.
And the best thing, Abby, about De Gea's performance today, he was actually talking. He was shouting at the defense. So that tells me that maybe he's gotten his confidence back. And I agree with you. I think he was our best player on the pitch along with McTominay, but we'll get there later. What do you make of Fosu Mensah? I know a lot of fans thought that he was okay attacking wise, but when you score one goal from a defensive error, I don't know how you can justify that.
Oh, absolutely. And Fosu Mensah is not a right winger. He's not a right striker. He's a right back, and he's a makeshift right back. So all I'd say to Fosu Mensah is, buddy, you need to defend. You're playing in Ollie's team because you have to defend. And I thought he was poor, even with his attacking considered. I thought he was overall very, very poor. 2 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, yeah. And Victor Lindelof.
What do you make of Fosu Mensah, if I may ask?
Fosu Mensah, man, I'd give him one, man. I think no one in the defense, apart from maybe shot one, because defensively for the first goal, yeah, okay, he went with Zaha, but that's his side. When the goal goes in from there, it's his problem. Zaha's second goal that he scores is again from coming in from that side, so that's his problem. He has to deal with it. He didn't deal with it out of position too often, and I don't buy this going forward nonsense. If you make an assist or if you make a key pass, then okay. I don't remember making any key pass, making any assist, so nothing doing, not more than one.
True.
What about Victor Lindelof? I think he's better off catching thieves than attackers.
Yeah. I mean, look, any United fan or any football fan who watched this game will tell you that Lindelof was terrible in his passing, terrible in his marking, terrible in his defending, terrible everywhere. Across the board, he was absolutely terrible. I'll give him a 1 out of 10, and the one is not for footballing reasons. The one is because he's done well enough in life and he's done something right to be able to wear a United jersey earlier today and start for Manchester United. So one just for that,
Yeah,
and not for anything to do with football.
an absolute zero for me. Absolutely, because the problem is, okay, you make a mistake, you grow from that. As a Man United player, you grow from that. It's not like Vidic and Ferdinand never made mistakes. It was that they made mistakes, they owned up for it, and they stepped up. This man just goes backward when he makes a mistake. His shoulders drop, his head drops. It's
Yeah.
it's appalling. He's not a United player. And I'm going to say this again. Eric Bailly is also not a United player. None of them are good enough. Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire, I think football wise was very, very, very average, but I'm going to pick him out extra today because you're the captain of Man United, mate. And as the captain of Manchester United, all I'm going to ask you, Prasham, is I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to tell you that when I compare a captain's performance, do you know who I have in my head? I have Roy Keane in my mind. I have Gary Neville, Nemanja Vidic. This is a captain of Manchester United. Even when the chips are down, they will grab you and they will say, you know what, you're Man United, fight. Didn't see any of that. Didn't see any of that. And sadly to say, his football was a lot like his leadership, just lacking. 2 out of 10.
One for me. One for me. And I'll tell you why one. I would have given him a two, but like for the leadership bit, I can't. Not only Maguire, there is a lack of leadership in this team entirely. Wayne Rooney was not captain. Ryan Giggs was captain, but towards the end, he wasn't captain. Paul Scholes was not captain. They owned up, man. They stepped up. Evra wasn't captain when Vidic or Ferdinand were captain. They stepped up. Michael Carrick stepped up. Where is it? Where is the passion?
Yeah.
Where is the passion? What is happening? But again, why I'm giving him a one is because his passing. He brought the ball out of defense so slowly. We bought him because he's a ball playing centre back. But if he's going to play the ball like this, might as well buy Fellaini back and lump balls forward. Might as
He
well.
has no transitioning. Yeah. They often talk about centre backs being evolved today in football. It's 2020, where to be a good centre back today, your defense to midfield to offense transitioning needs to be good. You need to be able to read the game. Harry Maguire, they also say, is a very traditional English centre back, and the only traditional part about him that I see is the fact that he has nothing else apart from physicality. He didn't offer anything else apart from just being a slightly biggish, stockish, lurchy figure in defense. He was a traditional centre back from that angle. Nothing else about him. He just lacked class. He lacked desire, performance, leadership, panache, skill. Everything went lacking today, man. He was just.
He was yet in Mykonos downing all those drinks. But what about Luke Shaw? Luke Shaw again, man. I don't buy this argument that he was particularly good. I don't know why, but like, is it just because maybe because the game was so depressing, or he actually was not that good? But when you concede 3 goals, I don't buy the argument that a defender actually played well, deserves
No.
anything more than a two.
I agree with you, Prashant. I think it's Luke Shaw's case tonight is one of those, didn't do too much horribly wrong. I can't say wrong. Didn't do like compared to the other three guys who we just spoke about. He didn't do anything that bad. But again, didn't do much either. Didn't
Yeah,
do much either. Was largely absent throughout the game. Again, I'll come back to Luke Shaw. We often talk about how we missed Luke Shaw in that semi-final against Sevilla. Oh, he would have connected with Marcus Rashford. Oh, Luke Shaw elevates Rashford to a different class of player. Silch. None of that.
no,
We didn't see any of that. We saw Luke Shaw. We didn't see any of that. 3 out of 10 for me, mate. Not as bad as Lindelof, Fosu Mensah, and Maguire, but nothing to write home about. So
right.
3 out of 10.
What about McTominay? We discussed this earlier that the pivot, the double pivot, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, but like, I keep saying this. He cannot play the pivot, and with Pogba and the team, you cannot play a double pivot. You need two central defensive midfielders. So how do you rate McTominay? I thought personally he was good in his position, but can't replace Matic. That's the problem.
Yeah, so two ways to look at this. One is a larger sort of wholesome view where you look at, what is his role at Man United? Does he fit into Ollie's system where, he's going to eventually have to replace Matic? From that standpoint, it's a different discussion to have. And I still feel that today he didn't do that role, but I still feel that McTominay is the kind of guy who you can mold and has the potential to develop into a player of that making. But going into his performance tonight, Prasham, I think if I could give anyone some points for desire, it would be McTominay.
Yeah.
Again, execution, not the greatest. He didn't have his greatest game, but I think compared to the rest of the team, he's probably, again, with De Gea, I'd probably give McTominay a 5 because I think our football started and ended with McTominay.
Yeah.
There was nothing ahead of him. There was nothing behind him.
Yeah,
I think it just started and ended there.
absolutely. I completely agree with that analysis. Let's move on to Paul Pogba. I'm tired of saying he's the best midfielder in the world in terms of talent. He needs to start performing, or there's no point. I said this on I said it like he's the Rohit Sharma of our team. All the talent in the world, but what is it worth when you can't do it when the team needs it the most? So either
Mumbai Indians titles in the IPL.
No. So I'm saying he needs to elevate his game to become the Rohit Sharma of present. From the Rohit Sharma of past to the Rohit Sharma of present. And it frustrates me, man. It frustrates me. The man has got all the talent in the world. The day Paul Pogba decides to play football the way he can, he will run past the teams for us.
True, very true. And Prashant, just to add to what you're saying, and I think, look, Paul Pogba for the last 4 years at Manchester United, ever since he's signed, has always been the focal point of Man United going into every season. It's always been about, can Paul Pogba deliver? Is Paul Pogba happy to be at United? Is he worth 90 million? This is the first season, Prasham, that we are going into where Paul Pogba is not the focal point of Man United. The press they're not talking about United. The media is not talking about Paul Pogba. The fans are not talking about Paul Pogba. This was his season where he just breaks through with no pressure and absolutely delivers to the level that he can, right? Because no one is talking about him. No one's giving him that grief. And this is what he turns in, Prashant. This is what he turns in. Completely missing from the game today. No killer instinct, no world-class talent ability. He looked like a Lee Cattermole at Sunderland today, man. Like just defeated in the jersey and defeated in his position and completely dominated by Palace.
The only thing I'm going to say, Abby, is maybe I'll cut him some slack. Maybe I'll give him a 2 because he's recovering from COVID, and maybe
I was going to give him 3.
Oh, well.
Sure.
Just because he's recovering and all of that. But yeah, man, pick your game up, or I'm not going to I can't back players anymore who are talented. Yeah, it's enough, man. It's enough. Just I can't take it anymore. What about Bruno? Because I want to judge Bruno by Bruno's standards as well. I want to, if the player is bad, I want us to get to that level where we're like, nahi, acha, he was better than the rest, so we'll give him 5, 6. It doesn't work that way, man. I want a Paul Pogba to play to his level. I want a Bruno Fernandes to play to his level. And today he was well off it.
Yeah, he was well off it, and I just felt I don't want to come off as sounding incorrect, or I don't know how to word this correctly, but I just felt he was being very continental today in the way that he was playing, like or constantly looking for a foul, constantly going down at the slightest touch, constantly looking to get the opposition carded, complaining a little too much to the referee. Like I was getting a bit pissed off
Yeah.
looking at him constantly go down, and that's not the Bruno Fernandes I want to see. I saw a little bit of, what used to irritate us about Nani once in a while. Like you
Yeah.
touch him, he goes down and, oh, I've broken my metatarsal. And then 2 seconds later, he's sprinting. I saw that side of Bruno Fernandes today. And I'll tell you, it's not a side that I want to see too much or
Yeah.
too often. One was that. That's in terms of attitude and drive and determination. In terms of pure ability and skill, yeah, again, one more player that went missing today. Didn't link up play well with Martial. Didn't link up play with Rashford. I think Bruno and Pogba together can actually be so damn good if they can get some system together, right? In the way that they pass, play, some sort of, familiarize patterns in which they can sort of play their football. Didn't see any of that, man. And for someone who we believed and we hoped would run our midfield, I thought it was a very, very lackluster performance. A 3 out of 10 for me, man, for Bruno
Right.
Fernandes.
I'm not going to dwell much on Dan James. I think we both agree that it was a 1-2 performance, didn't do anything. I actually want to discuss, and Martial didn't have the service. Whatever chances he had, he didn't do it. Again, it's going to be a 1-2 rating, somewhere about that. I actually want to go into Marcus Rashford. This is the player who last season carried us on our back. Personally, I'm a huge Marcus Rashford fan. What he stands
Viola.
for, what he's
Yeah.
done, exactly what he's done. And all this talk about, oh, he's lost his head because he's more focused off the pitch. Bullshit. I don't buy it. It's absolutely rubbish. I'm not going to berate him for the good work he's doing in life. He's growing as a human being, and that should in fact translate on the pitch. But what is wrong with Marcus Rashford? Is it confidence? Is he scared of the injury? Because how long is he going to back? I can't keep saying he's injured. I can't keep doing that. It's over. It's done.
You said it, man. Spot on. I think it's a combination of all of this. I think it's a lack of confidence from not playing well. He knows his last 5 performances have been absolutely terrible, right? And it does affect a player like Marcus Rashford. Jose Mourinho used to speak about it, right? When Rashford used to go on those long spells without scoring goals, he said it gets into his head. That's one. Two, his injury somewhere down the line, somewhere in his head, it is affecting him. He probably thinks that, I can't get into that second ball header. I can't get into ABC. I can't get into a shoulder to shoulder. What if I hurt my back? Three, I think it's, you know, has he, I'm not accusing him of this, but has he got it in his head that he's now a fully developed player that just needs to be consistent? Because if that's the case, I'd be very worried. I still don't think Marcus Rashford is fully finished, is fully developed. I still think there's a lot more polishing, there's a lot more shining that needs to be done on this product. And I still think there is a breakthrough star in this guy. I, for a second, don't want him to think that, you know what, I am a world class player. I've shown it with the goals that I can score free kicks like I have against Chelsea. I can nutmeg people and do the zigzag like I have against all kinds of people. I can score incredible center forward goals. I can score from the left. Hey, I'm the finished player. I'm the complete player. I just need to be consistent. No. If he's thinking on those lines, no, Prasham, then he's in a lot of trouble because he needs to improve, man. He needs to improve. It's not just consistency. He needs to improve his final delivery, his linkage play, his passing, his 1-2s, his shooting. Yes, his shooting has really stepped up, but here's a player who's probably at an 86, 87 right now. I'm talking in terms of FIFA ratings. I'd put him at an 86, 85, 87. He has the potential to become a 94, 95, dude. And if he doesn't see that, and if he thinks he's finished right now, then he is literally in that sense finished.
Yeah. Abhi, this, actually reminds me, that so many players, great players at Man United, never have I thought that anyone is a finished product. There's always room to improve. I've seen the likes of Paul Scholes adapt their game and change and improve. I've seen the likes of Wayne Rooney adapt their game when other players come and change and improve. So if Wayne Rooney, when at 18 or 19 had the world at his feet, or 21 had the world at his feet, and Sir Alex said, okay, you know what, Ronaldo is here, you have to play on the left or on the right, and he's like, yes, boss, I'll do it. Now, Marcus Rashford, and this is what I don't get about today's footballers. Oh, I can't play on the left. I play only on the right. I can't play on the right. I only play on the left. Are matlab, what is what do you
Dhoni
mean?
used to say, I just want to play. Remember when
Exactly.
Dhoni used to get substituted? He used to hit the flag, throw his shoe, be pissed off. Who do you see from this current lot behaving like that, man?
Nobody. Nobody. Absolutely no one. I mean, at times I feel like these players are better off. Okay, you take me off. I'm having a bad game. You know, you remember that Newcastle goal when Rooney scored when he's arguing with the ref? He's having an
He was
absolutely
so
horrendous
pissed.
game. Absolutely
Mm.
horrendous game he scores. Paul scores that volley against Barcelona out of
Oof,
nowhere.
oof.
Puts that in. You know, even the games we used to lose, man, this was disgraceful. This was disgraceful. And that's why I want to come to Solskjaer. Because I don't want to be overcritical of him because he doesn't have the resources. But is the lineup that he put out today good enough? And I, for one, completely think that he does not do substitutes. He does not understand substitutes. Why did
True.
Donny Van de Beek come on at 60, 65 minutes? I wanted him to
Close
come
to
on at
70 almost. Yeah,
almost 7.
yeah.
I wanted him to come on at 55. Why was Mason Greenwood out for so on the bench for so long? I don't get it. I don't get it. I know we both disagree on this a little bit, but he doesn't do substitutes. Like he just
Look,
doesn't understand when to bring people on.
Prashant, completely agree. All I'm going to say is fundamentally, Oli is weak, but that's going to sound like an excuse today. Fundamentally, he's weak, but today, tactically, he was weaker. And tactically, I still thought he had a lot more to play with. And you're absolutely right, man. I think the substitutions happened way too late. I don't agree with Wan-Bissaka being on the bench but not starting. I believe in that old sort of Steve McMahon
Yeah.
and
If you're
Andrew
fit,
Lacey,
if
and
you're
they
fit
used to
to be
say
on the bench, you're fit to start.
you're fit to play 90 minutes. I completely unless your squad is so depleted that you're forced to play someone,
And
which is not
Abhi,
the case today.
one more thing. It's not like it's been a 4 months break between the last game and this. Van Bissaka is coming to training on Monday, but it's been 2-3 weeks since he's not played football.
And Monday was 5 days ago, Prasham. Come December, players don't get more than 2 days between games, yeah, during
Forget
the run
come
in.
December, we're playing Luton Town day after.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, so coming to Oli, man, I think yes. So fundamentally, I don't think he has the squad that he would have liked to have gotten into with this season. But again, that will sound like more of an excuse. So coming strictly to today's game, yes, tactically very very poor. I don't think the manager deserves more than a 3 as well for the way that he could have done. I think the lineups could have been different. You're right. The substitutions could have been far better. Um, just too much, man. Just everything went wrong.
And
You know.
Abhi, it's called an inspired substitution for a reason. It's inspired for two things. You actually inspire the sub and bring him on, or second, you change something tactically, you bring him on in a different position, or you do something. It's not called an inspired substitution because the player is very good. Then it would be called, I don't know
Very
what it would be
true.
called. It's
Very
called an
true. Very
inspired
true.
substitution for a
Very
reason.
true. Very
I
true.
mean, if Kiko Makeda can come on and score those winners, if Danny Welbeck can do it, if Cleverly
That is
can
an
do it,
inspired
that
substitution.
is that
That's
is
right.
what I'm talking
That's
about.
right.
That is what I'm talking about.
Mm.
An inspired substitution is not having Cristiano Ronaldo on the bench and then bringing him on. Of course, he's going to do it because he's Ronaldo. What have you done in that? What is your
Van
contribution?
Hal, Van Hal taking off Jillison
Oh,
for
Krul.
Tim Krul. Yeah, that's an inspired
That's an inspired
substitution.
substitution,
That's
yes.
right.
But this is
Spot
what
on, man.
we're
Spot on.
lacking, and this is that. This pains me. This pains me. I cannot watch this club go because you know what my problem is, Abby. I will tell you what my problem is. Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Everton, City, and Liverpool. Forget about it. Wolverhampton Wanderers. They all are progressing. They all are moving forward. What are we doing? We're going backwards. Forget signings. Even the quality of football. We're going backwards. We don't have. We can talk all about Martial and Rashford. In my view, they're not better than the likes of Harry Kane, Aubameyang. They're a level below them. They're a level below them in terms of ability. Maybe they are
True.
better than them, but in terms of performance, Harry Kane being
Oh,
injured, yeah, yeah.
far from.
And I think Man United fans also need to get a grip. Like just accept the fact that Harry Kane is a better striker than Anthony Martial. Like how hard is that to accept? At this
I don't
point,
know. I don't know how many fans would disagree with that pressure, but I get the sentiment. And I completely agree with you, man. When it comes to ability, we do tend to sort of really we sort of emasculate ourselves when it comes to sort of, ability. Oh, Marshall. And I'm guilty of that as well, right? I went into this season and I went into this game calling Marshall £100 million Ferrari and all of that. But again, you're absolutely right. I'm talking about the ability, but you're spot on when you say that at the end of the day, it comes down to performance. On a bad day, how good are you? Right?
exactly.
Harry Kane on his worst day will never be as bad as Martial on his worst day.
Yeah,
That is the standard of Harry Kane. And that's where I feel the standards need to go up. The
absolutely.
standards cannot drop to such pathetic levels, and it's just not
Absolutely.
acceptable, man. It's just not
I
acceptable.
think that's it, man. I think you said it on your Instagram live. I said it in my preview. Each and every player, each and every player, including Ollie. I'm not even going to talk about Ed Woodward and the Glazers because those are absolutely shameless bastards. You don't even. I don't expect anything from them. But the players who take the pitch, I expect stuff from them. You go and take a hard look at a mirror and just decide whether you want to play for this club or not. If you think
No,
this club
man.
is too big for you, the door is there. Just walk out. Don't be here. This is Manchester United. We have expectations. We are yet the biggest club in England. Liverpool is not yet equaled us. We are yet the biggest club in
Even if
England.
they do, they're nowhere close.
Yeah, we can't digress. We can't digress. This is the moment where either we make it or break it. How long are we going to rebuild for? And this is the first game. I know a lot of fans are going to be like knee-jerk reaction. It's not, guys. It's a culmination from last season where we thought we moved forward, but we haven't moved forward. And that's the tragedy. That's the tragedy that
True.
one step forward, two step backward is pushing us back. And
True.
I don't know if there's anything more we can talk about this, but this is not what again like this is not the United we want to watch. This is not the United we love, and some things really need to change. And forget the Glazers, forget Ed Woodward. The players need to show the passion we have.
True. 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 Absolutely, man. Players need to step up. They can't allow themselves to drop like that. I have nothing else to say, man. You've summed it up beautifully. I really hope each and every player in that dressing room has a good, long, hard look at themselves and fundamentally just asks themselves, right? Like, what am I here for? What is my purpose? Why am I?
Hey guys, so I'm here because I just wanted to let you know that the video ends slightly abruptly this time around because the laptop just switched off pretty randomly, and we apologize for that, but I guess the laptop was feeling as dull as us. Uh, but to all you United fans, I request you all to see this video completely till the end. I don't have any personal gain from this. I'm not looking for personal gain from this, but the manner in which Abby and Prasham have spoken about the club and the tone they have used, it just describes each and every Manchester United fan, and and the amount of negativity that there is around the club with transfers, the Glazers. In fact, ex players are coming out and saying, Evra came out and said about the negativity. Gary Neville has come on. So, guys, with that, I'm honestly just gonna leave it to Abby and Prasham to talk about the ratings. But I would just like to add that the man who came on TV during the 88th minute, it's his fault, guys. It's not Ole. So please don't get onto the Ole out bandwagon. Give support the manager, back the manager. It's not the manager that's doing things wrong. It's the board. It's Ed Woodward. So see this till the end. Share your thoughts in the comments below and get Glazers out trending.